mean, we're meme machines now, ladies and gentlemen. The whole goal is to sell out. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Worst Help. Is this what stand-up is now? Question mark. Read this. After my little rant, you'll get exactly why I picked this one. Selling out is the name of the game. Vince Carter slam dunk contest. It's over. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by the only job site that believes your dream job is just a random algorithm away. The booker came to me and said, I have no notes on your set. You know what you're doing. How many Instagram followers do you have?
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus, the podcast, season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram. All right, I'm done.
Hey yo, have you ever done a whole podcast just by your lonesome? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Black Zeus, the podcast, season 6, episode 25. We are halfway through the season, and on this momentous day, Dante's not in the studio, so I'm just here for technicalities. We got to be disciplined. We got to get in the studio even when we don't feel like it, or when Dante's not here to do all this stuff. That's fine. I know how to use computers. Why am I yelling? I hope you guys have had a beautiful 7 days. I hope your next 7 days are even better than your last. What the hell's been going on? Have you been checking out any new comedy? Have you been enjoying life, the weather? Maybe too much weather. Depending on what part of the world you're in right now. My heart goes out to you if you're getting effed up by all this weird weather. Also, a lot going on in space. You might want to look up some geophysicists on YouTube, and they can let you know right now the solar winds are active. Is all this weather anomalies because of solar storms? Is it weather modification? Is it a combination of both? Damn it. I gotta fix this backdrop. Am I gonna redo the intro? I'm not, because F it. Just keep it in. That's authentic. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to this podcast, which we have started to keep track of our comedy careers, what we're up to week to week in the world of comedy, the shows we've been up to, and all the dealings, the passings by, the progression, the regression, the diary style stream of thoughts. You know what I mean? Obviously, usually when Dante's not here, I get really existential. I'm going to try and not do that this week. I mean, I'm not feeling that way right now anyways. I actually, because I guess Dante's not here to do the comedy recap with me, I will give you a brief glimpse into where my mind is at right now in the world of comedy. First of all, I got a ton of shows for this month and next month. I'm on the road with Jason Rouse. Salutes to OG Jason Rouse back in the Lando, Canada. Oh, Canada, where a black man named Zeus and a man who looks like a skinhead can go on the road and perform comedy. But please don't tell the government because we don't have freedom of speech. I mean, we don't get that crazy. They're not going to put us in jail or anything, but it is kind of weird how we don't have freedom of speech in Canada, but whatever, you know. Anyways, yeah, go check me out on Instagram, aka Black Zeus, and you will see me post all the dates like the start of the week, so you know where I'm at. It's mostly in Southern Ontario. Again, right now, like you guys know the come up. You guys know what's been going on. You know what's been going on. I'm active in the game of comedy, but I'm not active, I guess, in the world of comedy, which is also bullshit because wherever you are is part of the world. So I am it's just I'm not in the streets like I once was, because the industry is not what I thought it once was. And it actually isn't what it was when I started anyways. And so I'm just giving myself the time and space, which I keep saying, but I swear it's leading to something. I think that's a really important part of being an artist and something that I didn't clue into at the beginning. Had I actually given myself the real time and space and thought, like really what I want out of this much earlier in my comedy career, then I wouldn't be doing it this intensively. I don't think right now. I would probably still be doing it because you're always, checking where you're at, checking where you want to go, and at least you should be, especially if you're an entrepreneur or an artist or something like this, where it's entirely your control where you go and how far you get. But what I've been thinking recently is I really am happy that I've at least grown as a person. I've really learned this is going to sound so corny, bro, but self-love. Like in the business sense, what I mean is giving myself that space to breathe, to figure things out. But what I've also not been that great at is acknowledging all of my accomplishments up until this point. Things are so weird now that unless, you're hitting certain markers, people don't view you as successful. And I'm not the type of person to let external pressures get to me like that, but I do process that. And I can imagine how many people feel like they haven't done jack-ish. Imagine you're a decade plus into comedy right now, and it's not what it was when we started. Let's be honest. I mean, we're meme machines now, ladies and gentlemen. The whole goal is to sell out, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Congratulations, you got a sponsorship. Before I get to the big news for this episode, I do want to say right now, if you are a fan of comedy, you're locked into the right channel, Black Zeus, the channel. This is the podcast where we break down week to week, but we also have Black Zeus the show. Episode 9 just premiered on the YouTube channel, and let me tell you right now, I can already tell it's not going to do the crazy numbers. I can just tell. When YouTube wants to suppress a video, they'll suppress the video. And you could tell, like, within the first few hours. It's like, are they pushing this one? No. Too much copyrighted material? Okay, I guess. But all the other videos seem to be whatever. That's kind of the thing about being an artist, right? I mean, are you an artist for the recognition? Or just for the pure love of creation? And I'm the latter. I'm the creation guy. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm going to push the show anyways. Like, go check. If you are a fan, what this is the podcast. I say this every time we release a new episode. Black Zeus the show is the visual companion. So if you actually want a visual peek into what it is to be on the road with Dante and myself, then that's definitely the show to watch. It's a lot more bite sizes, like 15 to 20 minute episodes. We release them in 2 parts on the YouTube channel. And yeah, this month, the episode features a weekend of headlining at Spotlight Comedy Club in St. Catharines, Ontario. It's actually an interesting episode because Dante was along to film me headline a few months ago at Spotlight. But we also had footage from 2 years ago when that exact same club used to be Showtime Comedy Club. And so we kind of mixed in the footage to show what the club is now versus what it was 2 years ago when we were there. Very fun episode. Great interview with comedian George Rivard. Go check him out. Oddly enough, a black guy who's from the Yukon. I'm an African guy that was born in Greece, and then we both started comedy in Canada. I mean, the Yukon is in Canada, but you know, 2 black guys from. Why are we in the Yukon in Greece? Big news for this episode. Again, I'm going to keep it kind of brief. Every time Dante's out of the studio, I always say, I'll give you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I always end up doing a full episode. Can't promise it, never do, always ends up happening. Will it happen this week? I'm already 10 minutes in. Let's see. But yeah, I'm kind of like what just happened is kind of the comedy recap because I've been off for the week. I'm still kind of recouping from being sick, and with Dante being gone, this is kind of the perfect week to just kind of chill. So I didn't really do much in terms of shows. But again, I'm hitting the road strong this weekend. But I'll be doing a couple of in these comedy screets by myself this week. But big news, ladies and gentlemen, for the podcast and for myself. If you know me, you know I'm anti-corporate. You know I've been trying to avoid this for so long. But being a comedian in this day and age, in the age of social media, being an online aware, present comedian, being a comedian on the cutting edge, being a comedian who wants to be taken seriously, which is the only way to do this now, being a comedian who wants other people to view him as having some success, even though I've been performing successfully for 14 years, and especially the last 3 years, wow, crushing the stages, doesn't really matter in the day and age of social media. No, the only way to prove to people is that you are successful. The only way to do that, the only way to prove to people that you are successful, I should say, this day and age, is to tell them that you got corporate sponsorship, ladies and gentlemen. We got the first sponsors for the podcast. Your boy's a shill. I'm a complete hypocrite. Everything I have said up until this point, throw that shit out the window. This is the way to be an artist in 2025 and beyond, baby. This is the only way for people to see you as legitimate. This is the only way to get booked, other than having hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm well on my way to that now that we have sponsorship. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Black Zeus, the podcast first sponsored ad read? Don't change the channel just yet. I know how you guys like to do. I know you hear ad reads and then you're like, skip. You're not going to want to skip this. This is Black Zeus's first ad read, baby. So you know it's going to be monumental. Let's get this shit on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Worst Help, the only therapy platform that matches you with a professional, quote unquote, faster than you can say, I have unresolved issues. Why spend hours searching for a licensed therapist when Worst Help can connect you with someone who may or may not be taking this call from their dorm room, right between Intro to Psych and Beer Pong 101. Worst Help makes mental health care easy, affordable, and let's be honest, just a little bit questionable. You get to message your therapist anytime, day or night, and they'll respond with the kind of wisdom you'd expect from a magic 8-ball. It's real advice. Is it real advice? Signs point to no. And I know what you're thinking, but have you tried it yourself, Zeus? Oh, you bet I have. Last week I logged on because I was feeling a little overwhelmed. I was, trying to make it in the world of comedy. It's not the best. I don't know how, feeling types of ways all the time. Being an artist this day and age is so stressful. You hear me talk about it all the time. So I logged on to Worst Help recently, because I've been feeling overwhelmed. And my assigned therapist, let's call him Chad, responded with, bro, same. Have you tried vibing it out? I said I was having trouble sleeping, and Chad sent me a playlist called Lo-Fi Beats to Ignore Your Problems to. Revolutionary stuff, folks. But the best part, when I asked for coping strategies, Chad just sent me a meme of a dog in a burning room saying, this is going to be fine. Honestly, I felt seen. Not helped, but definitely seen. So if you want therapy, please don't fire me. So if you want therapy that's as personal as a group text and effective as yelling your problems into the void, give Worst Help a try. Worst Help, because your mental health deserves whatever this is. If you're an idiot, that's not a real goddamn ad. And if you actually think I'm a take a shill job for friggin' help, you're crazy. What is the point of being an artist this day and age? So I could sell people fake therapy, you psychopaths? I'm successful now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do the old kill blow me. Self-congratulatory bullshit. Did you really think I was going to read an ad? You guys are insane. I don't know how I'm going to make money in comedy now. I don't. But It's not going to be selling depressed people online because let's be serious. This is what they should put in those ads. Hey, are you scrolling 24/7? The last thing you need is blank help. Go touch grass, you weirdo. Stop looking at the screen. Holy crap. A person who's most likely not a therapist is on the other side of a keyboard right now waiting to chat GPT you some responses to your mental health crisis. Log in now, you friggin' weirdo. Because the best way to solve your mental health is through a subscription service. Oh, look at me. I can be successful too. You know what? I'm going to submit to one of the biggest Canadian comedy festivals next year. And I will guarantee that I get on. Because I've gone gay. Dante, please come back to the podcast because I'm going to get canceled before you get back. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna keep this podcast rolling because again, I'm not gonna be here too long, but I'm gonna do some of the segments we do normally. All right. This is probably my favorite new segment that we've started this year, and even though Dante's not here, I try to find two. So we're gonna do two. I say this, but watch me just do one. And I'm gonna try and pick ones that I would be better suited to answer because I've been in it longer. You know what? I'm going to start here. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you love it and sometimes you hate it. It's in these comedy streets. Dante and myself, this week just myself, headed on to a stand-up comedy board on Reddit, looked around for a bit and saw some of the most recent active posts, picked my two favorite ones, and I'm going to give my 2 cents on them right now. Starting with, and this was posted on r/standup by... what the hell? Akadov Saragon. AKK Adolf Sargon. 1, 2, 3. Whatever the F that is, bro. Whatever the hell that is. Anyways, this is the headline. Is this what stand-up is now? Question mark. Read this. After my little rant, you'll get exactly why I picked this one. This is the body of text. I took my friend to a show, his first time, and I haven't been to a club since COVID. So I was hoping it would get us both excited to start going to shows. I picked a well-known and well-respected comedian because I didn't want his first show to suck. The whole show was crowd work, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of real material, and this is not a crowd work comedian. And I can tell why literally everyone in the club was trying to sit in the very back but us. But I found out really quick when he immediately started into us and those near the front. I honestly didn't mind it until our interaction caused 2 cameramen to literally swoop in onto our table and start filming us. I guess they film all the interactions with crowd. We weren't being disruptive, but I guess by virtue of not sitting in the dark part of the club, we automatically sign up to help fill out this guy's YouTube short and Instagram reel section. I checked afterwards. It's over all his socials. I went to another show a couple weeks later and it was largely the same, different club though. I guess I'm sticking to arena shows like the rest of the boomers since I want to see actual material. No, bro. Real comedy happens in the clubs. I promise you, bro. Whoever this is, you see, I'm not insane, man. There's people out there that actually know what comedy is and want to see it. They don't want to be there. Bro, people paid money to see something real that has been worked on. They don't give a shit, and neither should you, about just banging out clips on stage. Like, this is so justified, and unfortunately, that's a lot of what stand-up is now. I feel like maybe we're getting back out on the other side of things, because I'm seeing less comedians, at least around me directly. I don't know what it is like in New York and LA and all this, like Austin or whatever. Like in the major hubs right now where there's a ton more. But in like the Toronto area, I'm seeing less emphasis on, I need the crowd work clips, because that shit is played. It's super played out. It's dead, if not dying. I meant to reverse that. It's dying, if not dead. But damn, man, they said they went to another club on a different night and still got the same shit. The fact that they think that arena shows are where they need to go, bruh, the best comedy happens in intimate settings, in clubs, in theaters. Arena shows are really nice, especially when you go to see a really polished, established act, of course. And when you go to an arena, I can't even guarantee you're getting that anymore. Because go look at what Cat Williams was doing the last 2 friggin' arena shows. Abysmal. And I love Cat. You know what I mean? This is a place where you will get honesty. Even if it's people I friggin' love Cat Williams. But man, as soon as that Shannon Sharp stuff happened, I called it. You can go back to that podcast immediately. I'm like, this is a tour. This is a tour promo, 100%. And guess what it was? That first Shannon Sharp appearance, this guy announced that he's doing a Netflix special. That special stank. Compared to his body of work, stank. And then he did one immediately the year after, like less than a year. That's not enough time. I'm sorry. And even as an OG, what new material are you getting polished enough in that amount of time to justify doing a friggin' arena? Get out of here, bro. It's bullshit. We're at the point where shilling is the name of the game. Like selling out is the name of the game. It's over. Like, it's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. Vince Carter slam dunk contest. It's over. Like, shit, dog. The same thing's happening in every aspect of art, in every aspect of life. Just to get nerdy about it, look at video games right now, bro. The best stuff isn't happening where it traditionally did. The AAA, big budget, big studios making gangbuster games every time. They're doing it about 5 to 15% of the time now. And it's just mostly garbage that a bunch of executives in a boardroom decided will sell. And guess what's been happening? That shit ain't selling. Nobody wants to play online-only bullshit where you're forced to do microtransactions to buy a hat. I just saw a video, NBA 2K, a real-life do-rag is less expensive than the digital do-rag in NBA 2K. Bruh, what are we doing? Oh, I know what we're doing. It's about siphoning dollars from everybody now. And it's seeped into every aspect of life. And I get it, because how do you even make a living being a comedian now if you're not going to sell people stupid products? How? I get it. There's a lot of pressure. Unless you come from money and, you know, there's a few of those kicking around there. You think, oh, this person's super original. It's like, yo, having like some nepotism in your corner is really good to give you some space to figure things out. But if you're just living paycheck to paycheck, what most comics are, you know what I'm saying? It's not easy. You gotta figure out how to bring in an income, especially if you're devoting your entire life to this. It's very tough. It's very tough. So is this what stand-up is now? Unfortunately, it feels that way, but it's not what stand-up actually is. Good stand-ups will always be good stand-ups. There's always a focus on material and making sure people get their money's worth. Bro, there's some real... A lot of these social media comedians, bro, all they know is how to be topical. That's it. They only know how to be topical, referential. Let me talk about accents. What neighborhood am I in this week? Oh, there's brown people here. There's white people there. Black people here. Asians. Unoriginal, hacky bullshit sells, unfortunately. Let's read some of these comments before I give myself an aneurysm. This is the top comment. It's not what it is now, but with some people, it is getting that way. It's also permeated the US more than other places, but it's still annoying as fuck. I'm getting so many young comics asking me about how to improve their crowd work. When I started, most comics did no crowd work at all. Hell, outside of hosting, I don't think I did crowd work for my first 2 years. There are comics in my scene who have camera setups for their crowd work because they aren't writing for the crowd. They are writing for the algorithm, and they don't care if it fails with the live crowd. If they get the sweet 40-second interaction, they go in specifically with the plan to do crowd work and no material just to find the little bit that sticks. I fucking hate it because there are comics who are actually great at crowd work and it waters down what they do, but also, like you've alluded to, it makes people much lazier with joke writing. Bingo, 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 bingo. What are you talking about, bro? Most of these new comics are trash. And yes, there have always been trash comics, but the influx, the amount of trash comics that are making money, I'm just saying, if I throw on a wig and I do an accent, I'll get a lot more followers because it turns out most of the people on this earth are basic. Did that hurt your feelings? Then call worst help, you fucking loser. My fake ad read, you bitch. Let's read a couple more before we move on to the next one. Let's see here. Let me scroll down a bit. Hack's gonna hack, man. The audience expectations have changed now too. We get audience that is disappointed if we don't do some crowd work because they get most of their comedy through social media. So there is that as well. I've learned to add a tiny bit of crowd work to the opening of longer bits so they can feel involved. But yeah, watching someone just mine an audience for 5 minutes to get the 20-second reel, it's not great. I want to also preface that crowd work has always been and will always be a fundamental part of comedy. We have just exhausted it now because of social media, and people don't want to post their jokes. That's how this all started. People realize like, oh, I can blow up by posting a ton of comedy clips. But all those have to be crowd work clips so that I'm not giving away my good material, so that if I get audience, they're not seeing my good material. Because guess what? I'm not spending time writing good material and having more of that. So it doesn't matter if I burn a couple on clips. I only have 5 minutes of jokes. So let me spend the rest of my eternity now getting crowd work clips. And I'll only keep this 5 minutes to 10 minutes so that every time a crowd comes sees me, I have at least 5 to 10 minutes. Bullshit. Bullshit. You know what? Before we move on to the next post, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have another sponsor for the podcast. You thought we got just one sponsor? Bro, this is Black Zeus, the podcast, and we get between 30 to 200 views a week on the podcast alone. Get the F out of here. We're crushing, bro. Crushing. No wigs over here. No. We're not putting on wigs or doing accents or friggin' kissing the same sex just to get. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just for the sake of pushing the algorithm, you know. But we've gotten good enough that we got 2 sponsors for the podcast. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by SlipRecruiter, the only job site that believes your dream job is just a random algorithm away. Why network, polish your resume, or develop skills when SlipRecruiter can blast your application to every business with Wi-Fi and a pulse? SlipRecruiter's advanced technology ensures your resume lands in the inbox of someone who definitely won't read it. You'll be matched with jobs you're wildly unqualified for, like senior brain surgeon or nuclear submarine captain, because hey, you once played Operation and own a bathtub. And yes, I've used SlipRecruiter myself. Of course you have, Black Zeus. Why wouldn't you use SlipRecruiter? Jesus. I've used SlipRecruiter myself. Last month, I was looking for a writing gig. Within minutes, I got an interview for assistant joke punch-up artist for a children's puppet podcast. I told them I mostly do adult material, and they said, perfect. We're looking to push the boundaries. Just, not too far. The next day, I was offered a spot as third backup mime for a cruise ship talent show, and I've never mimed in my life. But SlipRecruiter said I was a 97% match because I once got stuck in an elevator and made everyone laugh. Look at me, SlipRecruiter. And don't worry about follow-ups. Wait, let me get this ad read proper. And don't worry about follow-ups. SlipRecruiter will send you daily emails like, we found 87 new jobs for you, none of which you remember applying for, and half of which are in Bulgaria. But hey, work is work. So if you worry about, whoa, do real ad reads here, bro. Sorry, these are my first ad reads. So if you want your job search to feel like spinning a roulette wheel while blindfolded, try SlipRecruiter. SlipRecruiter, because your career deserves whatever pops up first. Another fake ad read, you psychopaths. Friggin' every podcast is selling bullshit that they've never used, but somehow every person that's reading the script has used it. Garbage. Let's move on to another in these comedy screeds, also on r/stand-up. This one posted by Video KYD. I can read that. Thank you, sir. Or madam. Or they, them. Whatever, bro. Or brim. Or shim. Or her. Whatever. Period. Does getting into clubs require X amount of social media followers these days? Another banger. These are the real hard-hitting questions, like legit. If you're in the comedy scene right now, you already know this answer, but you're trying to figure this out if you're newer. So does getting into clubs require X amount of social media followers these days? Hello, this is just a curiosity of mine, a pulse check, if you will. So thank you in advance for anyone who entertains this post. Get to it! I'm curious how required social media is these days for higher level road comics. Mostly, but also generally. I get that having a following is better than no following, but how much do higher level / pickier clubs and clubs in general look at that? For instance, will a place like The Cellar only take seriously those with a following, even if they are otherwise very good? ? Great question. Absolutely great question. Before I get to any of the comments, my personal view of what's been happening is this is absolutely more than a trend now. It was a trend at first, but I think it's gone past that because at this point, a lot of the comics have shifted their focus to building online audiences. So a lot more people have 50 to 100 plus K followers now. I unfortunately don't because I'm focused on living my life and touching grass and like touching real boobs and, you know, having a real life. But also progressing in comedy, but I'm backwards with it because I really cared about being good. Even as I saw social media becoming a thing, I was still focused on making sure the craft was good, that I was having a great time, and that translated to the audience. Like with the last post and the whole crowd work thing, I've always made it a point to get good at crowd work. And even now, I do crowd work quite a bit, but bro, I do so much more material, and the crowd work I do is always intricately tied to the material. Like the last person said, to make the crowd feel involved. I like tailoring. I don't think I've told the same joke the same way twice. Yes, I have the beats and the punchlines, absolutely. But I always, and this is just how I'm wired now because I've worked towards this, I always make it a tailored experience for whatever room I'm in. And I have my methods of doing that, whether it's watching the show before I'm on stage, researching the area I'm in, or just having history in the space. There's so many different avenues to crowd work that just going to do crowd work, you're bullshitting the crowd and you're bullshitting yourself in terms of progressing. You suck. Step it up, bitch. Now, getting back to this, it's feeling more and more necessary. People are looking at number counts. I mean, I've had a direct instance with one of the major clubs in Canada, and the president just point blank telling me, you need more followers. And, you know, I was actually able to have a genuine response. I'm like, this is one of your top producers, and they have 18 followers. What are you telling me right now? And then I started working with the club. So I think you also need to, like, have some fucking balls and confidence in your ability. Like, I've been doing this for 14 years, bro. I have seen the changes, and there's more changes to come, of course, because that's how time works. But I'm not going to discredit myself because I didn't invest all this time and effort into accumulating a bunch of people doing bullshit. To me, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. If you're on the streets bothering people to get footage, bullshit. If you're just doing crowd work clips as a comedian, bullshit. If you're just doing basic, like throwing on a wig, throwing on an accent, sorry, super basic, super basic. Not that it's not funny.
You're so funny. You really help me scroll and not think about anything. Oh, look, another funny. You're so funny.
Hack. Hack. Anyways, I said I wasn't going to rant, but here we are. White shirt, sweating, lots of lights, lots of heat. I'm getting out of here soon, okay? I'm already at 33 minutes. Ah! It's just so funny. I always say they're going to be short when I'm by myself. Ends up being pretty regular. Yeah, so let's read some of these comments because honestly, it's tipped the line now. It's no longer mostly like what's your draw in the comedy game and how funny you are as a headliner and all this stuff. It's how many followers do you have, because I can more closely relate that to ticket sales as a promoter, as a venue. You know what I mean? But I like that this person even mentioned the Cellar specifically, because I guarantee any established club like that, if we're talking about the Comedy Cellar, the Comedy Store, Mothership, or friggin', Mothership is less established, and I feel like they run more on the newer type stuff. But any of these legacy clubs, like the Improv and all that stuff, even less. The Improv is more of a chain, and I do know specifically that they are looking at numbers too. Even though they're more legacy, so you can get in with skill. But the Cellar is a reputable name. People are going to the Cellar, knowing that Chappelle might pop in, or any of these guys might pop in. Louis C.K., any of these New York guys might pop, you know what I mean? They're going to the Cellar because the Cellar is the name. Now, I'm sure the Cellar is also looking, but I don't think they would care as much. I don't think the Comedy Store would care as much because they have prestige. They already have the name. You're going to the Comedy Store knowing that there's going to be a lineup of gangbuster comedians. And sometimes you'll go because they're doing a headline set, but that's a specific headline show. Most of these other clubs, the chain clubs, the improvs and all that stuff, they are switching to this newer model of how many followers you got, because we can't sell our own tickets anymore. Thank you. Let's read some of these comments. Headliners are headliners because their name is what sells the ticket, not necessarily because they tell the best jokes. Comedy clubs are businesses first. Hell yeah, man. If you're looking at it, yeah, absolutely. They are businesses in an artistic craft. So there's always going to be some balance, but the club itself is a business. 100% can't deny that. Social media following isn't the proof that you can sell tickets, but it's a damn good indicator. The best proof is previous shows that sold tickets. If you've been a headliner enough and can show you can sell tickets, that's what gets you booked. Great point. I auditioned at a club in LA that I will not name. The audition was 2 minutes. I did my set. The booker came to me and said, I have no notes on your set. You know what you're doing. How many Instagram followers do you have? Yo, there's not one piece of critique I can give you. Bro, you are such a good comedian. And especially because I would know, because I've been running this comedy club forever. You have got it. You are what comedy is about. I can't book you unless you have a certain amount of followers. What? I can't book you unless you have a certain amount of followers. Get the Aw, flappers. So great to be gatekept by people who can't do stand-up themselves. Flappers is a chain of clubs in America, and they have a terrible reputation. Terrible reputation. As this person says themselves. I've never seen a club be so committed to fifth best. You know what's funny? I was watching the recent episode of Corey Holcomb's 5150 podcast, and he just promoted a show at Flappers, and he literally said, who's on the lineup? And then they read the names, and he was happy with it, because it wasn't his headlining show. It was like a 5150 presents night. So the club was booking all the comics, and he literally said, oh, it's a Flapper show? See, normally Flapper shows are garbage. Garbage. But not this one, he said. So go check out Corey Holcomb if you're in that area, wherever that Flappers is. There's a ton of them, so I'm not helping. I'll read one more comment here. This one looks good. Different clubs do things differently. In my understanding of the Cellar's audition process, perfect, which I have experienced, it has nothing to do with your social media following and everything to do with being recommended/invited to audition and how your audition goes. Classic vetting system. You can't even get in here unless people that are regulars here say they've seen you. And we need a few of those guys to say that. And then you got to audition, bitch. At the Cellar, no individual comedian is called upon to sell tickets unless it's a specific comedian's headlining show. People buy tickets to the Cellar because it's the Cellar, generally. Bam! Exactly what I said. On the road, sometimes a comedian gets booked because of the size of their following, and other times a comedian gets booked because the booker just wants to book that comedian. There is no one-size-fits-all rule to this. And of course, you're right that all things being equal, if a club has a choice between booking a funny comedian with a big following versus a funny comedian without a big following, the big following offers an edge. Now, yeah, and you know what? I'm not even. There's a ton of good comedians that are doing the social media crap. I'm just not with it. But that's not to say that all of them are shit. It's just, damn, what the algorithms push. This is my main beef. It's what the algorithms push, right? They push you in a direction to make certain types of content. Because if you put out content that's just talking real shit, they don't get pushed. No, nunca. But if you do some buffoonery shit, it spreads like wildfire. Anyways, I'm really sweating, okay? I gave you guys 2 ad reads. Real ones. Wink, wink. And in these comedy screeds, I did it all on my own, and I just hit the 40-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you haven't already, go check out the latest episode of Black Zeus, the show, episode 9, headlining at Spotlight Comedy Club in St. Catharines with an interview with my friend and comedian, George Rivard. A great episode, great interview, man. I've really been enjoying these edits, and I really just love what we've been putting out, regardless if the algorithm loves it or not, because we're artists over here, and that's what we do. And we have patience, and we do have vision. Like, literally real time, you guys are witnessing us figuring things out. And even though 30 to 200 views on the podcast per week right now, bro, I remember when it was 0, and I remember when it was 7, and then I remember when it was 10, and everything just grows. And if you actually look at our stats on the page, we're doing more than people with bigger pages in terms of engagement and stuff like this. So again, I love the craft of this, and when that's the case, I'm locked in for life, and I love myself, so I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to give myself the time to figure it out, and I'm going to surround myself with the right people, like Dante, who isn't here, this rat bastard. But he should be back next week, and hopefully you guys will be too. But until then, this has been Black Zeus, the podcast, Season 6, Episode 25. I am Black Zeus. Love y'all. Peace, peace.
It's Hen Dog!
Black Zeus, the podcast, Season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on